Okay, this car here, which we're about to enter, is called the guard car. It's been with us a long time. Sheriff, if you want to go ahead, I'll follow you.
Okay.
And then we'll go up there and see what we can find this thing. It's kind of like Chuck Norris, isn't it? Exploring Arkansas. Right.
It's like a little hotel.
That's like a little hotel, exactly. And if you take a look around, the men had their own bunks. Like I said, out on the derailment, you just couldn't quit and go to town. And it had their own bunks, everything, so forth. Down through here was the kitchen area, some of it. Showers. They could had anything they wanted out. We'll get on another car here in a minute, and you'll see more things, storage facilities for what they wanted. But it was super cool. One thing about all these private cars like this, they were well insulated and they were cool. Air conditioning kept them cool.
So they were air conditioned.
Well, all this kind of stuff was, yes ma'am, the cabooses were not, but anything to do all this was air conditioned. Oh, you see, see your vents up here? It's your vents up here. This caboose here is one of the last cotton belt cabooses. It was number 83, in which I rode on. It was not air conditioned. You answered your question previously. This one was not, but it was one of the most modern and still, in my opinion, somewhat prehistoric. Let's go in this way, Sherry. You always hold on with two hands when you go in. This is a restroom facility, which I'm sure he probably don't want to show, but he might want to.
It's pretty interesting.
It's different. This is where the conductor sat and did his book work. Conductor's area, and the restroom back in there. And this is where, when they were traveling down the rail, conductor's on one side, and the rear brakeman, as they refer to him, the hind brakeman, would be on the other side.
So the conductors in the caboose?
Yes, ma'am. You say, if people wondered, they look this and say, well, how do you get it to look the other way? You turn these things around. A lot of people think you have to turn the whole caboose around, but you don't. And so, we had a stove. This is an all-burning stove here for heat. And you pour water in there, light it. It's hard to keep to the right temperature because it's either too hot or not hot enough. You didn't have a thermostat on the wall.
Right.
This up here was when you're riding on, you got to hold on something. This up here, because the slack comes in and hits, and you're not holding on, you're going to choom out through the other end of the car. So this was a safety thing here to hold on to. And of course, if we had other crew members on here, that was what we used to call deadheading, when they need to get extra crew members to other than that, they had places to sit and ride. It's best not to stand up when you're moving if you can help it.
That makes sense.
So, move on out to the other end. This little tool right here, a lot of people know what it was, but this right here is to straighten a drawbar on the end of a car. When it says you can't manhandle it, you turn it over as such, and this right here will go down that little hole that you see on top of a knuckle, and it's what they call like a cheater pipe. This is what this is for.
So you're able to move it with that because of leverage? Is that the way it works?
That's right, there. Because the drawbar, not counted, I mean the knuckle itself is about 80 pounds, 85, and in the housing, like right down there, you have to, you got to have them in lines where they'll hit and connect. This is just storage cabinets in here. We come out down here, and of course, they teach us when we're getting off a train, you back down like I'm doing as such. You don't go forward because these little walkways when we walk down here have these little nipples that stick up, and the bottom of tennis shoes, they catch them if you come down forward, face down, right here. So if you back down, the worst you can do if you slip and sit on your rear end. That's better than making a three-point landing with your nose.
Well, let's try.
Turn around, back down, Sherry. That's the correct way to mount and dismount.
Actually, that makes it way easier too.
Right. There we go. Now the cameraman's got to come down forward because of his camera. Looking over here, we got some people. We have our own phone booth in here. If we look over here, like many people in the camera, but some people don't. This is the phone booth. And you go inside. Now you go in there, Sherry, and take a look, and you close it like you're going to make a call, and you shut it, and the light comes on. Put your quarter in, you dial your number, and that's the way it works. I'm going to get her out of here because there's not air conditioning in there. We're going to get Sherry out of there.
I remember those things well.
Huh?
I remember those.
I even remember when they were rotary dialed, not.
You can see this is one of the freestanding boards I referred to earlier about how a snowplow works. It's shoved by an engine. It's not powered on its own power.
Ah.
You see, and this is how they work. I can just imagine how scary it would be to be up in this top cabinet and you couldn't see nothing in front of you running 25 or 30 miles an hour not knowing where you're going. And this is it right here. You see how big it is with us standing next to it in comparison to an adult with how much snow. Well, we didn't use this in Arkansas. We never had this much snow. This is a display, but out in Kansas, a western state, yes, they did. And it even had these side wings that stuck out, that were moved out in different notches to depend on how much snow you need to move away from the track. So they serve like wings that buffeted out there. This next car here is what we call a cupola caboose. It was about the first forerunner of any cabooses on any railroad. It has a little top. Up in the top is where the conductor and rear brakeman rode and observed everything. And they spent the night, the crew spent the night on a lot of these. We'll go up here, Sherry. I always let ladies go first.
You know, it looks like a little schoolhouse.
Yeah,
Like
a lot of people try to get them, make deer camps out of them.
I don't like that. You can make a cute tiny one.
Right, these are really old, but
I want one.
they're a little rougher than some of the others. Again, we had the old stove here, in which they built a fire in that with whatever they could find to burn. And again, you couldn't regulate the temperature like it should. So when going down through there, you had different documentation that the conductor might need, as far as that's these train order books again. And then you climbed up in here to look down through there to watch what you look. You're constantly looking up the side of your train for anything that may not be right. Particularly a journal, what they used to refer to as a hot box, would catch a fire, and all this is just a little storage area back in through here. And I think,
Would that used to be an outhouse?
well,
or is that?
I think this. No, that's just storage thing in there. This will. I've been. Well, I don't.
It was somewhere.
Yes, this was the outhouse where you could pin somebody in with that deal.
Yeah, you could.
But there's no telling. When everybody looks in here, they close doors and open and see things. And but this is where they store drawbars and knuckles in.
Gotcha.
There should be one in there. And you cook ice in there. That's that's ice box. You put in block ice in there. All under here was storage. All the kids like to climb up on all this stuff.
When was this?
Now these guys see these little cats in their sleeping tonight.
I'm sure. When was this train built? 1942, did you say, or 19?
Somewhere early 20s, I guess. About 20 something. Okay. My grandfather was here 23.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I didn't finish it. I was just not sure. They like me to keep this up.
How did you guys get this thing here? Did you have to tow it with another train, or?
Oh yeah. Well, originally this train was moved here from one of our city parks. It's called Oakland Park. It's now Martin Luther King Park out here on Ridgeway Road. It was placed out there many years ago when it was taken out of service. And so vandals kept on stealing things off of it, and then the people that had the museum here started to move in conjunction with the city and the Cotton Belt to get it here, so they were able to bring it by putting down pallets. That's little short pieces of track, maybe 60 or 70 feet long, and they brought it to a main lawn and brought it up here to the Cotton Belt. If it hadn't been for the original Cotton Belt, we wouldn't have gotten it. A UP would not care a thing about it. So it was moved up here. I don't know what year that was, but it was out the golf course. Let me look on this plaque over here and see if it says anything about it. (1942), I think is when it was moved.
Okay.
42 right here, and it was made a National Register in 2003. So we're looking back through here. You're looking back north to the center island, to the end, one that we've already seen. These engines here on display, they were all belong to the person that is using for display purposes. Sad it is, they do not have the engine there for show, not to go.
Okay.
Go up in the engine, it didn't go right there. Go up in here?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go first. All right, we're going to go up on the 5006 Cotton Belt engine. You see the lighting up there, but all the electrical on this, since engines are 12 volts, all this has been converted over, thanks to volunteer work by some electricians, to 110. So that's why we've got lighting on this engine here. We'll go up on it and look around and see. We'll mount this thing and go up like you're supposed to.
It's hard to do it with no hands.
Yeah, it's really tough when you're my age. Okay, we're inside the cab now, this 5006. Looking around, you have two seats on this side, which the front one was usually occupied by the train crew's fireman. This back one was for the head brakeman, as they deemed him. And then over swinging around, this was the engineer side. All in back behind these cabinets are electronic controlled breakers, etc., etc. This gets real hot. So in the summertime, when it's 100 degrees outside, and this is even hotter, it's really hot up in here. Over here on the engineer side, if I can get my fat self in here, you've got two different brakes for stopping the train. This bottom one here is an independent, just for engines only. If you apply the brake for the brakes on the engine, it's forward like that, and to release it a little at a time, it'd be like taking your foot off a pedal and letting that go. This top brake valve is a main line brake valve for the air that's on each car, one end of the train to the other, you see. And so it has to go around like that and bring it around here to stop. This is your whistle, which this does not work because we don't have any air pumped on the train. This thing here was your bell to ring your bell. This was your throttle, 8 notches for stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And right below here was your direction. You want to go forward, backward. They've got these locked up so the kids can't, whatever. But anyway, here's your speedometer. Here's your voltage, your amps, just like in an automobile. This is your air pressure on your train, 90 pounds, 60 pounds, whatever. And these things were old heaters. They weren't too efficient. And that's about it. This is where everybody pulled the horn right here with the whistle.
Is that speedometer in miles per hour?
Sir?
Is the speedometer, is that miles per hour?
That's correct.
Can this train, can that do 85 miles an hour?
If you were by yourself on the engine, yes, but you wouldn't want to be caught doing that, because going back to this, when we discussed earlier about the rail under an engine, some of those track rails are not geared for over so many miles per hour.
Okay.
You see, and so, but here's the thing, depending on whether you're a freight train or a passenger train, how fast you can run, and what the track area you're running on is your maximum authorized speed that's allowable by the railroad company. Some track, like going through Pine Bluff, 30 miles an hour. You wouldn't want to go through Pine Bluff 65 miles an hour.
So there's speed limits.
It's basically a lot like just like your automobile, and speed in miles per hour govern an automobile through a town or around a school, 25 miles per hour, this sort of thing. Interstate 55, 70. So it's basically like that. And this is your radio, which you call the dispatcher, call other members of the crew, so forth. And that's about it. It's just, it looks easy, but when you start handling a train with 100 cars, it's a little more to it than just, you know, daydreaming through it.
I'm sure. What is the torpedoes only? What is that?
Torpedoes was, okay, back, you know, when I think Sherry asked us, what did the Flaxman do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, it has the same purpose. If you slow down, if a train was supposed to make a maximum authorized speed of, say, 50 miles an hour, the train behind you 3 miles is also 50. So your both trains are running along 50 miles an hour with 3 miles back. But if you slowed down for some reason below 50, like going over a hill, and you had to slow, or you know, slow down to 10 miles an hour, and you didn't want this train behind you, he wouldn't have no way of knowing that you slowed down. So you take those off and you put them on top of the wheel, and a little clamp that holds them, and then when the train behind it hits it, they know that this torpedo, that the train ahead of you has slowed down less than your desirable authorized speed.
Gotcha.
So they've got to slow down.
Okay.
This is all an intertwined way. They're not there. We get rid of them when we find them. I hadn't seen them in a long time. They're dangerous. Kid want to put them on a rail track, hit it with a hammer, bam, you've lost an eye or a finger. So that's the dangerous thing. Down in the hood, the thing is where your restroom was. That's not too much to look at. So probably wouldn't
Down
deem.
here? There's a bathroom?
There's a commode. Like I said, that'd be something you probably want to edit.
I don't know. I like weird stuff.
It's down there.
I think my watchers would. Oh yeah, sure enough. I was actually going to ask you what happens if they have to go to the restroom while they're driving someplace.
Well, if it's the engineer, he has to stop the train.
Yeah.
It's conductor brakeman, they can go there. Somebody's got to be running that over. Of course, the engineer's the only one, you know, that's qualified to run. But it won't get an A as far as hygiene.